Hello, my name is Mrs. Heath, and today we are going to discuss how to make a race plus C response better for ISTEP and for your own personal writing. In case you have forgotten, the R stands for restate the question, the A stands for answer the question, the C stands for cite from the paragraph, the text, graph, table, whatever is presented in the piece of literature or article. E equals evidence, and you need to copy the evidence directly from the text, the graph, the table, and remember to use quotation marks when you copy your evidence. And C stands for conclude. We're going to talk about how to look at the example responses that we've been working on in class. The first one that I want you to look at is the star. We're going to focus on the star. What's the best part? So as you're reading these responses, I want you to put a star beside what part you will remember when you finish, what's the strongest part of the response, and what do you think the writer should leave alone because it's already good. And the other one that you're going to focus on today is what do you think the writer should do more of. Please put a plus sign beside those responses. For example, what was mentioned in the writing that you want to know more information about? What section do you want the writer to give more details about? Is there a part that you wish would come to life? So today we're just going to focus on the green square and the yellow square, and as you read the following responses. So the first response that's a model reads like this. What causes the lunar cycle we observe from Earth is the moon's orbit around the Earth with the sun's light. On page F45, paragraph 1, it says, using the sun and the moon's orbit makes the moon's phases. The text also states on page 45, paragraph 2, the lunar cycle, the moon phases, are created by sunlight reflecting off the moon and the moon's orbit. Therefore, I conclude the moon has many phases due to sunlight. So look over that response and decide what you think is the best part. Put a star beside that, and what do you want more of? Put a plus sign symbol beside that part. You may have to take a snapshot in order to reread this response to evaluate it. Another example, this was another response that a student wrote for our class. There is a cause for the lunar cycle we observe from Earth. On page F48, it states, quote, just as Earth revolves around the sun, the moon revolves around Earth. It also states on page F48, just as half of Earth is always lighted by the sun and half is in darkness, half of the moon is always lit by the sun and half is in darkness. I conclude that light from the sun greatly affects how the moon looks from Earth. Therefore, it affects the lunar cycle. Now take your time, take a snapshot, evaluate this response, put a star by the best part, place a plus sign by the part that you think you need more information about. All right, let's look at another response. Okay, this student wrote, what causes the lunar cycle we observe from Earth is the sun that produces light. On page F45, paragraph 2 of the text states, moonlight is actually sunlight that is reflected off the surface of the moon. This means that the phases of the moon that we see each night are caused by the sun's light. On page F45, paragraph 2, the text states, if the moon produced light, it would always look like a full circle. From that, we know that the moon doesn't produce its own light. The moon gets light from the sun. I conclude that the sun causes the lunar cycle we observe from Earth. Now evaluate this response. Put a star beside the best part and put a plus sign beside the part that you want more of. Do you think the writer should provide more details? Okay, so now our goal today was to evaluate race plus C responses. You needed to decide what the best part was in each response, as well as what you think the author should add.